If you're over 60, and rising out of a chair has started to take a real push, you've probably done exactly what everyone told you to do. You ate more protein. So why do your legs still feel like they might give out on the stairs? Because after 60, your muscles get quieter at answering the signal that tells them to rebuild, and protein alone can't get loud enough to reach them. That's why today I'll walk you through 7 everyday foods that turn that signal back up and rebuild real leg strength. And no, the answer isn't just more protein. Let me explain that signal, because once you see it, the whole plate makes sense. Every time you eat protein, your body breaks it down into small pieces called amino acids. One of them, leucine, works like a light switch for building muscle. When enough leucine arrives at once, it flips the switch on and your muscles start rebuilding themselves. When you were 40, that switch was easy to flip. A modest amount of protein lit it right up. After 60, the switch gets stiff. The same protein that used to work now barely moves it. Researchers who study aging muscle have a name for this. They call it anabolic resistance, which only means your muscles have grown resistant to the signal to grow. That one fact is why more protein on its own keeps letting you down. If you nibble a little protein here and a little there, spread thin across the day, none of it ever arrives in a wave big enough to flip that stiff switch. So the job in front of us is not simply eating more. It's getting enough protein at one sitting to cross the line, choosing foods rich in leucine to hit the switch harder, and adding vitamin D, which helps the muscle actually answer when the signal comes. That is the part plain protein advice leaves out. And I want to be clear about why this matters, because it isn't about dieting or eating less of anything. These 7 foods are about the muscles in your thighs and hips, the ones that stand you up out of a chair, carry you up a flight of stairs, and catch you when you start to tip. This is about staying on your own 2 feet, in your own home, doing your own things, for as long as you possibly can. One honest word before we start. Food is not medicine. If your doctor has you on something, keep taking it, because nothing on this list replaces your care. This is the quiet daily work your fork does alongside it. So here are 7 everyday foods that turn the rebuild signal back up. And keep an ear out for the 7th, because it's one that most over 60 kitchens already have in the refrigerator, and almost everyone eats it at exactly the wrong time of day. Number 1 is the egg, and I want to start by rescuing the best part of it from a bad reputation. For years you were told to toss the yolk and eat only the white. That advice threw out the most valuable thing in there. The yolk is one of the very few foods that naturally carries vitamin D at all, and vitamin D is exactly what helps your aging muscle respond to the rebuild signal. Meanwhile, the protein in an egg is about as complete as protein gets. 3 eggs give you somewhere around 18 to 20 grams of protein, with each egg carrying roughly half a gram of leucine. So a 3-egg breakfast gives you a real dose of the leucine that starts flipping that switch. Think about what that means against the stiff switch we just talked about. An egg comes at the problem from 2 directions at once: leucine to flick the switch, and vitamin D to help the muscle answer it. Picture your usual breakfast of toast and coffee, a meal with almost no protein in it, landing at the exact time of day your muscles have gone the longest without any signal at all. Swap in 3 whole eggs, and your emptiest meal of the day starts doing real work for your legs. The mistake to avoid is the egg white only omelet, because the moment you pour that yolk down the drain, you pour out the vitamin D, and half the reason eggs are on this list. Eat the whole egg. That's a breakfast that helps your legs hold you by mid-morning, and it sets the pattern for every food that follows. Number 2 is Greek yogurt. Humble tub in the door of your refrigerator. What makes it special is how concentrated it is. A single container gives around 15 to 20 grams of protein, far more than the thin, sweet yogurts most of us grew up on. And a good share of that protein is whey, which is the fastest digesting protein there is. Fast matters here. Whey sends a quick, tall wave of leucine into your blood, and a tall wave is exactly what it takes to flip that stiff switch in an aging muscle. Picture a woman in her 70s who trades her sugary fruit on the bottom cup for plain Greek yogurt, with a handful of berries stirred in. Same spoon, same morning habit, but now she's crossing the leucine line instead of just spiking her blood sugar. The one slip to avoid is buying by the pretty label instead of the protein line. Turn the tub over. If it says 15 grams of protein or more and the sugar is low, it earns its place. The fruit on the bottom kind is really just dessert. Get the plain, thick, high-protein kind, and you've added a second easy hit to your day that keeps those legs answering. Number 3 is oily fish, salmon and sardines above all. These are the vitamin D powerhouses of the whole list. Remember, vitamin D is the helper that lets your muscle hear the leucine signal in the first place, and oily fish are among the richest natural sources of it on any dinner plate. On top of that, a palm-sized fillet brings around 20 grams of complete protein, plus the omega-3 fats in the same fish that help your muscles respond better still. So fish works on both halves of the problem at once, the signal and the muscle's ability to answer it. And you don't need a fancy fresh cut to get there. A humble can of sardines or salmon, the kind that's been in pantries for generations, counts every bit as much and costs a fraction of the price. 2 servings a week is a sensible target, mashed onto whole grain toast or forked over a salad. The trap here is the breaded deep-fried fish fillet, which buries the good fats under a crust that works against you. Keep the fish real and simple, and you've handed your legs the one nutrient plain protein can never supply on its own. Number 4 is lean poultry, the everyday chicken and turkey that's probably in your kitchen right now. This one earns its spot on sheer density. A palm-sized piece of chicken breast carries around 25 grams of protein, which means a single serving clears that whole per meal threshold in one go, no math required. And poultry is loaded with leucine, so it flips that stiff switch with room to spare. That per meal threshold is the whole game after 60, and lean poultry is the simplest way over it. Think of the lunch salad that used to be a few leaves and a light dressing, a meal your muscles slept right through. Lay some sliced chicken across the top, and that same salad becomes a real signal to rebuild. The mistake is the portion, not the food. A few little cubes tossed in for flavor won't cross the line. You want a piece about the size of your palm, and skinless if you can, so the protein does the talking. Right-size that portion, and you've built a lunch that carries your legs through the afternoon. If this is the kind of plain-spoken breakdown that helps things click, the channel is full of them, so stay a while and look around. Now, number 5. Number 5 is soy, and I mean the everyday kind, edamame and tofu. I know the old belief that plant protein is somehow second-rate, too weak to build real muscle. For most plants, there's a grain of truth in that, but soy is the exception that breaks the rule. Soy is a complete protein, carrying the full set of amino acids your muscle needs, leucine included. A cup of edamame gives you around 17 grams of protein, while a block of tofu drops into a stir-fry or a soup without any fuss. So even on the days you eat little or no meat, you can still flip that switch, because soy carries enough leucine to get it done. This is the food that tells you a lighter meat way of eating doesn't have to mean weaker legs. Where people go wrong is assuming a sprinkle of nuts or a few beans on a salad counts as their protein for the meal. They don't come close. When you go meatless, let soy be the actual centerpiece of the plate, in a real portion, not a garnish. Do that, and your muscles never know you skipped the meat. Number 6 is lentils and beans, the quiet cans and bags in the back of your cupboard. They're cheap, they keep forever, and a cup cooked delivers somewhere around 15 to 18 grams of protein, along with a load of fiber that's good for the rest of you. But beans come with one catch that matters for your legs. Lentils and beans run a little short on leucine, and they're slightly light on one of the amino acids. So on their own, they nudge that rebuild switch rather than flipping it hard. The old kitchen wisdom already solved this. Pair them with a grain, rice and beans, lentils with a slice of bread, or add a little chicken or an egg, and the two together complete the protein and top up the leucine. Picture a warm bowl of lentil soup with rice, the kind of meal families have leaned on for centuries. Paired like that, it moves from a gentle nudge to a real signal. The real error is treating beans as your only protein every single day and wondering why your strength hasn't budged. Pair them, and they pull their weight beautifully. Number 7 is the one I promised you, the food already sitting in your refrigerator that almost everyone eats at the wrong time: cottage cheese. For years it was sold as diet food, a scoop next to a canned peach at lunchtime, and that midday habit is exactly what wastes its real gift. A cup of cottage cheese gives you close to 30 grams of protein, most of it casein, a slow one. Casein curdles into a soft gel in your stomach and releases its amino acids gradually, over 7 or 8 hours, instead of all at once. Now think about your night. You sleep 7, 8, 9 hours, and that whole time your muscles get no protein and no signal, the longest fast of your day. Right when the stiff switch goes completely untouched, a serving of cottage cheese in the evening quietly drip feeds leucine and protein through those hours. So your muscles are still being fed while you sleep. Researchers who study overnight muscle repair have found that protein eaten before bed measurably lifts how much muscle you build through the night. So the fix is simply moving it. Keep enjoying your cottage cheese, but shift a serving from noon to the evening. And that timing trick points to a bigger lesson for the whole list. Spread your protein across breakfast, lunch, and dinner instead of saving it all for one big supper. Older adults tend to eat almost no protein at breakfast and pile it on at night. And research on protein through the day suggests that evening heavy pattern leaves the muscle switch off for most of your waking hours. Even out the day, and you keep the signal lit from morning to morning. So step back and look at what these 7 foods have in common. Eggs, Greek yogurt, oily fish, lean poultry, soybeans, and cottage cheese. Not one of them asked you to eat less or go hungry, and not one of them was just more protein. Every single one was for something protein alone can't give you. Enough of it in one sitting to cross the line, leucine to flick a switch that's grown stiff with the years, vitamin D to help the muscle answer, and the right timing so the signal never goes dark for long. And why go to all this trouble? Because this was never really about food. It's about rising out of a low chair without planting both hands and pushing. It's about taking the stairs with a bag of groceries and trusting your legs the whole way up without reaching for the rail. It's about standing at the counter long enough to cook the meal you wanted and staying in the home you know on your own 2 legs for years longer than you feared. You won't feel it in a day. Give it a few weeks of these ordinary foods showing up at ordinary meals, and the chair tends to get easier first. And keep that honest line from the start in mind. None of this replaces the care your doctor gives you. It's the quiet work your fork does in between 3 times a day on your side. Pick just one of the 7 to add this week and start there. If a plain, no-nonsense breakdown like this helps you eat with a little more confidence, tell me down in the comments which food you're adding first. There's a whole library of these here on the channel, all of it made to keep you strong, steady, and living life on your own terms.